I'm Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and this is At Home in Bloomington, brought to you by Karen Rassel, Ruoff Home Mortgage. We profile the people, places, and resources that make Bloomington, Bloomington, and help you live your best life. At Home in Bloomington.
Hello, and welcome to At Home in Bloomington. Be warned, I feel like the show may be a little bit out of control. I am your host, Realtor Deb Tomorrow, and I am here, as always, with the lovely Miss Karen Rassel, best damn lender in the state of Indiana.
Hello.
Hello. Are you as excited about this show as I am?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Edge of my seat. Well, no, you were dropping clues earlier. So
I have been dropping clues, and our guest has been dropping clues.
I know.
So
she has clues on.
I didn't really drop clues. I was more taunting.
Yes.
I don't think I really so the one clue I dropped was that Sunday morning I did something and I was nervous about it. And so I couldn't sleep. And I posted a picture on Facebook of my kitchen clock at 6:31 a.m. And I said, I can't sleep. I'm too excited, nervous, doing podcast prep today. So that wasn't really a hint because it didn't really, I guess it just, all it told you, I was like, I'm not going to church.
I looked at it like it is complete black darkness. There was no light in that picture except the time. And I was like, what is the significance of 6:31?
Space. It's going to travel into space.
Is it 1:36? Like I was trying to,
I know.
Does it stand for something? Yeah.
Okay. And so then our guest has a few clues today.
Yes.
And what were those clues?
Seashell earring, singular. Plural. There's the other one. Okay. A shirt with seahorses on it. And a notepad that is a seashell. Yeah. No.
But you have no idea?
Nope. No. Okay.
So do you know, I know we've talked about this on the show before. This intro is going to take an hour. I don't really care. I know we've talked about this on the show before. I have 3 major phobias. Can you name them?
No. I have
none of them?
Spiders?
No.
Heights?
No.
Drowning?
No.
Okay. See, nope. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know you.
Birds?
Birds?
Remember the whole I was attacked by a parakeet when we had indigo birding on the show?
Yes.
Okay. So birds.
Birds.
Being found dead because people smell me. I know that's really depressing, but that is a legit phobia that I have. Mm-hmm. And then fish. I love swimming in the ocean. I do not like fish. I don't want them to touch me. I
wish people could see my face.
Terrified that they'll you ever seen those pedicures that people get where the fish nibble the dead skin off your feet? Oh my gosh. No. That. I don't think there's anything worse.
But you'll swim in an ocean?
If I can't see the fish.
But you know that they're there.
If I don't think about it.
What about a lake?
No.
Never, right?
I have, but I wouldn't because you can't see. When I'm swimming in the ocean, I'm in Aruba where you can see.
Fish, birds, and
being
smelling.
Found dead because people can smell me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Meaning I've been dead for a while. And hold on while Karen gets her phone. Okay. So that was part of the reason why I was so nervous on Sunday.
Okay.
Because it didn't have anything to do with fish. And yet it's sort of associated with fish.
I have no idea. I thought it was an aquarium. I was like, Bloomington doesn't have an aquarium.
Right.
Or do we?
Okay.
And I just don't know yet.
You're pretty close.
Yeah. Do you know who Jacques Cousteau is?
Why am I supposed to say yes?
I don't know.
Wait,
that's an
actor, right?
No.
No. No.
He is pretty famous for
artists,
underwater shipwrecks and discovering things.
Nope.
Okay. Well, Jacques Cousteau invented this.
Treasure hunting. I have no idea.
That would be a really good show.
I have no idea. More accurate.
Yeah, that is. We're getting closer. Closer. If you were to treasure hunt, we're going to get you there. If you were to treasure hunt, what was that movie that had Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey maybe? And they were treasure hunters and they were looking for shipwrecks.
Nope. I don't know that one. I know that they were in a movie together. Am
I making that up?
Where are the shipwrecks?
Where are the shipwrecks? And how would you get to the shipwreck?
Oh my gosh. I have no idea.
Okay.
This whole podcast, we're just going to.
This is going to be an hour later, right? Okay. Where's the shipwreck?
In the water.
And how would you get down to the shipwreck?
Scuba diving.
There you go. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. Well, you could have said, Karen, what is your number one fear? Which is
scuba diving.
Scuba diving. I won't do it. Yeah. I can't even do it in the pool. Like when they're training you, like on a.
Yeah. Have you ever tried?
No.
Okay. That's fair.
I can't.
Well, so that's what I did on Sunday.
No.
Yeah, really. I have pictures. I have video.
Here you go.
Stop it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's got pictures too.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
See?
Everything
is right there. Okay. So let me introduce our guest is Casey, last name Vallee.
Mm-hmm.
And she is the assistant manager at Southern Indiana Scuba. And I actually met her at a homebuyer seminar. And I thought this is such an interesting topic because there is this whole community of divers in Southern Indiana, of all places, that you wouldn't think, because you're always thinking sunny,
so many questions right now.
I know, right? Okay, so
many.
Bear with us because this show is going to be all over the board because it was fascinating and we had tons of questions and Karen has tons of questions. And so we're just going to jump right in. So welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for tolerating us as we're
glad
super.
To be here.
Karen, I did find a couple of interesting tidbits that I wanted to share as we kind of talk about scuba, because I don't want, if anybody goes like Karen, oh no, terrifying, not safe, right? Scuba is safer than coconuts.
Mm-hmm.
Shark encounters, right? That's one of the main fears. That's my whole thing, with fish. And more people get killed by falling coconuts every year than shark fatalities.
Okay, I was waiting for, is a shark coming up to get a coconut? Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And by falling vending machines.
Yes.
Yeah.
More
swim with sharks.
Than to get a Coke out of a machine.
Yeah, because, people want to beat on it and shake it.
Yeah. According to the Divers Alert Network, the 2010 fatality rate in scuba diving was one death for every 211,864 dives. 211,864. Compare that to one death in 126,000 marathon runners, so about half. In fact, driving a car, playing soccer, golf, and skydiving all cause significantly more injuries than scuba diving.
I feel like sharks and fish would not be my biggest fear down there.
Really?
Yep. Darkness.
How dark is it down there? Okay, I don't even know where to start, right? Okay, so what I did on Sunday, we'll start with that, is called Try Scuba. And it's just like a 45-minute, you get in the water and you put the gear on and you sort of swim around and just experience breathing underwater. And that's it. So it's just a real simple, they don't inundate you with a ton of information. They're just put this in your mouth and go sit on the bottom of the pool. Literally that was the instruction, which is nice because you're not overthinking and you're not kind of going, well, now what am I supposed to do? You're not freaked out about that. It's just put this in your mouth and go breathe.
It's a test of comfort.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is a really good first step for people who are interested in scuba.
Oh yeah. Especially if they don't know if they're going to be comfortable in it. If they feel like, well, maybe it's not for me. Maybe it's dark. You learn that it's not dark and you can see very well with a mask underwater.
Yeah.
You can kind of feel what it's like to be weightless.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I will say that because I've snorkeled before, and I don't have a ton of luck keeping a snorkel mask on and not getting water inside and that sort of thing.
Right. Me neither.
Not a single issue with that. Not a single issue with getting any water in my mouth, in my nose, in my eyes, because my eyes are real sensitive. Not a single issue. Afterwards, I was like, oh, no, I didn't have any issues with that.
And you went by yourself?
Well, there was, there were
did yours go with you?
He was, and he was going to, and then he was like, I'm too cold. And now he regrets that he didn't go, that he didn't get in the water. But it was lucky because he was filming, so I have film to show people. And it's really, it was just a pool. So the thought process of what happens if I actually go into an ocean might be different. So tell us a little bit about how you got started in scuba.
Yeah, so in town, there's a couple places that you can start. The university has their program, Southern Indiana Scuba, which the people all know each other. It's a really tight-knit community.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in business since 1975, and I started working there after I got started on a class at the university.
Okay.
And you can take all sorts of specialties. That's what Karen's flipping through now. Is all the specialties that we offer. And there's different agencies as well, but that's kind of like running around with a MasterCard or a Visa. It doesn't matter what you have, but it's all about diving.
Mm-hmm.
So you can keep learning. You can learn photography. You can learn how to perfect your buoyancy. You can learn about sharks. You can learn about manta rays and turtles, all the wonderful creatures. And I just kept going.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here thinking, I can't even take pictures above sea level.
Right.
Like, so.
Well, I remember going on a cruise years ago, and there was a couple that were on the cruise that would get off in every port and scuba dive, and would come back at night, and we was with a group. We'd all meet up in the bar, and they would have their laptop, and they would show us the video of what they did that day.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. But I think this idea of doing it in Southern Indiana. So talk to us a little bit about what's the basic certification that someone has to go through.
Open water diver.
Okay.
So what you did was not open water diver, but an intro to see if you like it. Mm-hmm. It's shallow water only. There's minimal instruction. We don't want to overload you.
Yeah.
But the real basic class is open water diver. So you learn the what ifs of scuba diving. Well, what if my regulator falls out of my mouth? It's easy. You just put it back in. You have another one. What if my mask has a little bit of water leaking in? Odds are your hair is just stuck in it. So you just kind of readjust it. We teach you how to clear it. And you just kind of learn how to troubleshoot if there's something strange going on. It's not necessarily dangerous or life-threatening. It's just a little minor inconvenience. Mm-hmm. And that's usually what it is. As long as you have good functioning equipment, you don't have any life-threatening emergency.
And you don't have to be a great swimmer.
No, because your fins do all the work for you.
Yeah, except when you're in 4 feet deep water, then the fins are a pain in the ass. Yeah. That was probably like my only thing that was driving me crazy was like trying to, like you're in 4 feet. So you're in 4 feet. So you feel like you want to walk, but you can't walk in this freaking, I do not like fins. I mean, if I'm swimming, but if I'm just, anyways.
Try scuba, you kind of just crawl.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's a fun kind of crawl.
Yeah.
Weightless crawl.
Right. And so I know when we were there on Sunday, so there was a couple of small groups that were doing Try Scuba. And then there was another group that was working on their open water certification. Mm-hmm. And then you had another group that was working on something else. And so we were watching the open water certification. We're like, they must have to be able to swim a certain distance.
Yeah, there's a fitness test. And it's really just for comfort. And you don't have to swim without fins and mask. You can actually do the distance with an extra 2 laps with a mask, fin, snorkel.
Okay.
So it's just to show that you're comfortable in the water. Okay. If you needed to get back to the boat, you can.
So I think it's 200 yards. And you don't have to, it's not like a certain stroke. It doesn't have to be pretty.
Right.
That was our debate. We're like, I think I could do that if it didn't matter. If I could, do it on my back, some of it. And people were, flipping around or whatever. And then the other one is treading water. You have to be able to tread water for, I think, 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah. I got no problem with that. I'm a good floater.
So I'm taking all of this in.
I know,
and
right?
The only thoughts that are still going through my mind is
Are you crazy?
No, it's just that I think about like myself and maybe people like me who that makes me very anxious.
Yeah.
And so just the thought of there's that panic in me right now still, just listening to you guys.
And I'm not trying to convince everyone that they should do this, but if you're on the fence or you think this might be a life experience that I need to check off my bucket list, the Try Scuba is a super easy way to like build some confidence or be like, hell no. But do you get many hell no's?
Not really.
Most people are like,
okay. Yeah, like this is fine.
Right.
I can breathe easily. The regulator does all the work for you. Really.
Yeah. It's crazy when you just put this thing in your mouth and then they're like, breathe normal. And I'm like,
So the people that are taking the certification here, is it because, are they going somewhere here close to Bloomington to do that? Or are they getting prepped for like East Coast, West Coast, something like that?
Caribbean mostly.
Yeah.
But there are local diving opportunities. But you have to be more adventurous because in the Midwest it's a little bit colder. Mm-hmm. But it's not necessarily darker. The visibility may not be as good as the Caribbean because obviously you have about 100 feet of visibility, the ocean and the warm sunlight. And it's wonderful. Most people go to the Caribbean or on cruises, like dive-specific live-aboard cruises.
Yeah. But as part of the certification process, it's how many hours of training?
About 6.
6 over 2 Saturdays. Mm-hmm. And then you have to do an open water dive.
Yeah.
And so you can do that here in Indiana. Mm-hmm. And where do you do that?
We have a private quarry in Mitchell that we've been using for years and years. The dive shop and the people in our kind of dive community know the family. So we're able to go there and train. And We go in late May to kind of mid-October, and it's warm enough that on the surface you could swim in a swimsuit.
Oh, okay.
But as you descend, it's going to get a little colder, so we have a 3 millimeter wetsuit.
Okay. How deep is that quarry?
It can be, the training area is about 25 feet.
Okay.
But the deepest part's about 50.
Okay. And then if you didn't want to wait, I think there were some people there on Sunday that had a vacation coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And so they couldn't complete their open water certification. What do they do in that situation?
We give them what's called a referral. So they go through all their academics and pool with us, and then we sign some paperwork. And when they get to the Caribbean, they hire an instructor to take them out for their 4 open water checkout dives. So
if you are, have a vacation coming up, and this show is going to be promoted right before spring break, I think. So good timing. But you can sort of start the process here.
Which we have one coming up this summer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, which then begs the question, age range.
Yeah, 10 and up.
10
and
and
there's
up.
no oldest.
Yeah.
There's no age cap.
Yeah.
We have an 80-year-old diver.
Yeah.
And he's
as long as you're healthy and that you can tread water.
I don't even think you have to be that healthy. No, I mean, when you see the people that are out there on Sunday, and this doesn't, I mean, I'm certainly no fitness queen. I mean, there was literally, it seemed like every fitness level, every body type.
Well, I mean, like healthy, like,
Well, you probably couldn't be like on oxygen, would probably not work.
Like asthma, like that would.
Reasonable health, yeah. And I mean, body type doesn't affect it. It's, if you need more weight, you just put more weight on. And
that was my situation. So the first thing they did when we went in the water, and the reason I'm talking about this so much is because I want people to kind of hear my experience from, a first timer. Mm-hmm. But, we get in the water, they put the vest and the tank on. You don't even know that the tank is on your back, right?
Exactly, you're weightless.
50 pounds, and you do not feel it at all. There's a couple clips, like a backpack. You sort of feel like a freshman in college with your books, and then, and you put the fins on, and then they say, okay, put this in your mouth, breathe normally, and go sit on the bottom. And I'm like, I couldn't get underwater. I am a buoyant person. It's my bubbly personality.
It is your bubbly personality.
And so they were like, weights, please. So they had to put some weights on me. And then it was like, more weights. And they had to go get more weights.
But if you were telling someone to do that, like they should just naturally, like I'm sitting here trying to figure out, like I feel like I would be like buoyant too. Like isn't that the whole point?
Most
because
people are naturally buoyant.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, if Eurus did it, he would sink to the bottom. He's real tall and he's real lanky, and I think he would he's not a good, floater.
Yeah. Okay.
He's also a little tense when he's in the water sometimes. So so that's what we were joking about is like, he would.
Your and I would be like holding on, like, okay, we're going down together. Yeah. We're going to go to the bottom together.
Yeah.
I'm going to breathe.
And so I think what's important is that like, when you do the training, then you really start to dial into how much weight. Like they were just putting weights on me to get me underwater.
Yeah.
Like, oh, bring more. And then finally I was able to go and sit on the bottom.
So interesting.
I know, right?
And it's probably not that you needed that much. It's just that there was enough air in your buoyancy compensator that it was making you buoyant.
Okay.
And instead of trying to teach you how to use the inflator because that's the next class, they just said, let's just get her to sink for now. Yeah. Because you're not going to be using that in a tri-scuba. It's just too much instruction.
Yeah. So there was something at some point where Kim, is that the owner? One of the owners, she kind of, because Scott was who was helping me, and she kind of signaled to him, and he was like, oh yeah, and he let some air out, and all of a sudden I was like, and I like sunk, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So there was something like that too.
It was so inflated that he just let some out.
Yeah.
Sink right away.
Yeah. So it was just a really nice way to try it out with sort of, almost one-on-one. He just kind of floated alongside me, and it was crazy.
I can't wait to see these videos.
Oh, we'll
and
show
she
them
had
to
the
you.
same look that you have right now. You guys can't see Karen's face right now, but Deb had the same look when I crushed her. She's, oh my, what?
Right?
No
way.
I was
like, I'm pretty terrified just even saying the word, but now we're having serious conversations about whether this is something
that you guys are going to do that
we want to do or think about doing. So my question to you is, for someone who's, okay, I've done, the tri-scuba, and then if I wanted to proceed, I would go through the certification. Are there like easy dives?
Oh yeah.
Like when you go out there, like, I don't know, like to me, I'm thinking I'm still a little bit like 25 feet of water might freak me out just a little bit.
Yeah. The minimum depth for training is 15.
Okay.
So we can go to 15. We can go a little bit beyond that. But once you get underwater, it's all kind of the same. Like you feel the pressure difference as you descend. But if you're in 15 feet or 25 feet, it feels about the same as long as you've equalized your ears.
Yeah.
So we're sitting on a 25-foot platform, and you can see the surface. It's a bright, sunny day. You have all of your students around you, your classmates, I guess. And everybody's just having a good time, smiling, blowing bubbles. It's pretty cool.
The bubbles are really loud.
Yes.
That's another thing, too, that I don't think until you are underwater breathing like that, you know, you hear the bloop, 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 bloop. I mean, you see that in movies or whatever, but actually, like, hearing it, and I'm like, that's really loud.
Yeah, it's not a silent world.
No.
That's one of the misconceptions.
Yeah.
Like, underwater it's silent. Yeah. Oh, you hear everything.
Yeah. And I felt like, I was like, there's no way I'd be incognito because I don't know if, I mean, probably part of it was my breathing because I was breathing really deeply because I just felt like that's what I needed to do. Like they said, breathe normal. And I'm like, I don't know what normal is anymore. I'm underwater.
Maybe you're doing that to be like calm, like to be a little bit more
maybe
zen.
Maybe a little zen.
That's what you should do.
And so I feel like there were a lot of bubbles. I don't even know like what it looked like from the surface. Kind of crazy. But, and I do want to add too that I do have asthma. And when I told a friend, Sally, that I was doing this, she's like, no, you have asthma. She's a nurse. And I was like, that's fine. And I did, you know, I hit my inhalers before I left the house and I was fine. I didn't have any concerns.
That's the thing. In 4 feet of water, it's not going to be as much of a risk, but you can actually suffer an embolism in as shallow as 4 feet of water. So the problem with the inhalers is that it allows your lungs to expand to the max, so they don't have any more stretch. And with the inverse relationship of volume and pressure, if you were to take a full breath of air at 4 feet and stand straight up, there could be injuries. And that's why we have all those waivers and things. And that's why you hear that asthmatics shouldn't at least hit their inhaler before they go diving. Like they shouldn't dive. But if you talk to your doctor and you get doctor's clearance, they may clear you. But I'm not a doctor and I don't pretend to be one, so I can't tell you yay or nay.
And I think some of it is probably like, you know, my asthma is allergy related. And so...
And most people in Indiana have like asthma for like the seasons.
So when I'm in the Caribbean,
everywhere.
I don't have any issues.
So you wouldn't need your inhaler. But that would be at your doctor's discretion.
So it is important to get some, you know, medical advice and there's clearances and to understand. But I was just really impressed with, like I said, the variety of people that were there and every body type and every age and trying it out. And I really think that Jack should try this out.
I think Jack would totally do something like this. Well, he has no fears.
Lady Deb will take Jack. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to gather ourselves, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about the Southern Indiana Scuba and the center and the trips and all kinds of interesting stuff they have going on. So stick around. You are at home in Bloomington.
Hi, this is Karen Rastel with Ruoff Home Mortgage. Did you know there are low or no down payment options available? If you're interested in buying a home but not sure about your options, contact me today at 812-606-7653. Together, we'll make your dreams of home ownership come true. Ruoff Home Mortgage is an Indiana corporation licensed by the Indiana Department of Financial Institutions. This is not an offer for extension of credit or a commitment to lend. All loans must satisfy company underwriting guidelines, equal housing lender, NMLS number 141868.
This is your Real Estate Realist, practical advice on buying and selling real estate based on my experience closing over 800 home sales. Condo living is an option a lot of people consider. Whether downsizing or first-time home buyers, condos can offer amenities and benefits not found in single-family home ownership. If you're thinking condo living might be for you, here are some thoughts to consider. Number 1, ask if a condo is a good fit for your lifestyle. Your neighbors are close, sometimes above or below you. Do you have a noisy dog or like to play on your drum set? Do you like gardening as a relaxing hobby? If you answered yes, condo living may not be for you, so be sure to think it through thoroughly. Number 2, what are the association's finances? All condos are governed by a homeowner association. You have the right to request to review the homeowner association finances prior to closing on a condo. You can write that into your offer to purchase. You want to make sure that the association has adequate reserves for repairs and that the annual budget makes sense and isn't negative. And number 3, what is the particular community like? When you buy a condo, you're basically going into business with the other owners. Your dues and theirs create the income for a nonprofit business, and all of the owners are responsible for managing those funds through the association's board of directors. So you should feel good about the people you are going into business with, that they share the same vision for the community. Attend an HOA meeting, ask a board member to coffee, check out the community's webpage or social media. Most importantly, plan on getting involved when you are an owner. It's the best way to preserve your property value. Condo living can be great. I lived in a condo for a bit, and it brought me a huge deal of freedom and camaraderie. A little bit of knowledge and research upfront can make your condo decision one of the best you've ever made. For more information, check out my Real Estate Today podcast, number 8. You can find it on YouTube, iTunes, and my website, www.athomeinbloomington.com.
My name is John Lee. Deb Tomorrow is my realtor. She has helped my wife and I sell 2 homes and purchase another. She's a smart, outside-the-box thinker and truly cares about her clients. Deb makes the complex world of buying and selling homes seem easy, which is a testament to her knowledge and skill. Long story short, Deb should be your realtor too. And now, back to the show.
Welcome back to At Home in Bloomington with our guest, Casey Vallee from Southern Indiana Scuba. I think we just took about an hour break to answer questions, and we probably should have. Some of it was pretty technical, but it's just fascinating.
Yeah, we can re-ask them because it'll be like another, I forgot we've already mentioned that.
Right. Well, I wanted to do a quick throwback before we get back into our second segment, as we usually start each second segment. And I struggled with this one a little bit because I feel like it's such a unique show. And I was looking back over all of our past shows, and I think we have 60 past shows, and I was like, I don't know how to tie this, because I usually like to try and tie it to a past show. And then I came up with this brilliant idea. Somehow to get your kid into college. So you remember when we had Class 101 on, and they embarrassed us with our inability to take the SATs. But, Class 101 is working with your high school student to help them prepare for not just testing, but applications, looking for scholarships and that kind of thing. So I did a real quick Google search, and there are all kinds of scholarships for kids who are divers.
Oh, really?
And have that experience. And also just, I think, having that experience and getting involved in that as a hobby could make for some really interesting college essays.
Absolutely.
So there's my tie. There you go. Class 101. So check
out that. Or even careers.
Yes, or even careers, just like Casey. Okay, let's talk a little bit. I want to give some shout outs to Mark and Kim, who are the owners, and talk a little bit about their background and their experience, because it's quite impressive. Yeah. Especially for someone, again, I think the reason this is so interesting to me is because we're landlocked in Southern Indiana.
Right.
And there's this huge dive scene.
Yeah. So a bit about them. In 1989, the two of them within that year got certified through the university and kind of through Southern Indiana Scuba in its earlier days. And Mark started working at Southern Indiana Scuba part-time, and he realized he just absolutely loved it. He worked on computers at banks, and he was kind of the IT guy, and he had a couple degrees in electronic engineering, but he just absolutely loved scuba, so he started up his professional track. He became a dive master, an assistant instructor, an instructor, all the way up, started teaching specialties. And then from then on, he just kind of worked there as a technician and other things. There's all sorts of careers that a scuba shop can present for you. And he bought the shop in 1998, and he's owned it ever since. And it used to be on South Walnut Street at 1023 up there, but now we've moved to South Empire Road. So our new address, which isn't so new anymore because it was 11 years ago when he moved, is 6500 South Empire Road in Bloomington, Indiana. If you follow South Walnut out from town, you'll find it right before you hit the interstate. And
it's right behind another, one of our favorite show guests, Goldie Hydroponics, just moved down there. So it's right behind there. And I pass it every day going into town because I live out that way. And what are the shop hours if someone wanted to just kind of come in and poke around and ask questions?
Monday through Friday, we're open from 10 to 7. And on Saturdays, we're open 10 to 5, and we're closed on Sundays, usually because we're at the pool.
Right. And so you have gear in there that people can buy, or they could just come in and ask questions about diving.
Oh, yeah. And we always love to talk about diving.
Sure.
We travel all over the place, the Caribbean, Florida Keys, Cozumel, live aboard boats in the Bahamas. There's all sorts of things that we can do. And we rent equipment, we sell it, we service it, we retest cylinders. So even like fire departments and public safety divers. Also, the CS gas that police use in prisons is pressurized, so we also retest those cylinders.
Interesting.
So all cylinders are regulated by DOT. Okay. So we actually do that as well.
Interesting. So you organize trips?
Yeah.
And I know, doesn't that sound just like
a dream job? It sounds like a dream really job. Is. Yeah.
What's your favorite place to go?
I've been to Cozumel twice. I've been to the Florida Keys a couple of times, and I just love the Caribbean. I want to expand my Caribbean travel, but also local diving is pretty cool too. We actually have some quarries that people have made into underwater amusement parks, if you will.
What's under there? I want to know.
You know, you may not have seen it. Some of the listeners may have, but the movie U.S. Marshals, the airplane, the 727 jet, is actually in Merrimack Springs Quarry in Illinois. Okay. And you can dive it. It's from 15 to 45 feet.
Oh my gosh. It's an airplane.
Full airplane.
That was the one thing that Yura said. He said, if we were to dive in the Caribbean, he goes, I don't want to go inside anything. I think he has this fear of like going inside like a shipwreck or something and then not being able to find his way back out.
That's a healthy fear. Bad things can happen and you need additional training. But for that 15 to 45 foot plane, they've actually gutted it so you can swim inside and swim out, and there's holes everywhere. So they're more newbie friendly.
Right. Yes, that's what we need. Very much so. So then I guess that begs the question, what's it like? Karen asked this question and I said, don't answer it. What's it like 25, 30 feet down?
Plenty of light. It depends on where you are. If we're talking about the Caribbean, usually you hit some like a sandbar in the coral and you can just glide along. There's plenty of light, lots of fish, if it's a healthy reef, you'll see really big creatures. And they're friendly. In fact, you look
How do you know? Do you talk to them? Do
I
they say,
talk to them.
Come on in, we're friendly.
How to speak fish.
Oh my gosh.
But they kind of regard you as about their size. You have fins that make you about 1.5 feet longer.
Are they that big? You've seen fish like as big as you?
Yeah.
Holy shit. French horns, as Karen would say.
I would say, what the French horns?
What do you mean? Are they really that big? Yeah. If it's a healthy reef, you'll see bigger things. But they're not going to eat you. Usually they feed on smaller creatures anyway. You're in a group of things.
So we look like a big giant school of fish.
Yeah, and you're bubbling too. Like that's foreign to them.
Okay.
So they're kind of more afraid of you than you are of them.
If you say so. Like that's See, this is where I get like, I have this need, like I feel like I need to skydive in my life. It terrifies me. I don't really want to do it, but I feel compelled that I need to do it. This is kind of the same thing. I feel compelled to like, at least, I don't know, maybe it's challenging myself or something. But
for myself, I could see me saying I would do skydiving because I could see everything going down if I wanted to.
Go back up,
but I can't go. That is true. I know. But it, like you just said, I don't know if I want to see creatures as long as I am tall. So,
well, I mean, gosh, I feel like now we need to.
Well, you can accept this challenge, and then this summer,
Karen's like, no, none of this.
So I saw something when I was doing a little bit of research, and is it true that like colors kind of change when you get underwater?
It's called absorption.
Okay.
So you lose.
Oh, guys, it's physics because I'm not so good at the physics.
But imagine the rainbow, Roy G. Biv, So you lose red first at about 15 feet.
So they say that if you were to cut yourself when you're underwater, it's blue.
Depends on what depth you're at.
If you're deep enough.
If you're at 10 feet, it's going to be like a brown, kind of like an unamusing
challenge accepted. I'm like looking at you like,
oh my gosh.
Sorry, that's a different show,
right?
Different, yeah. Okay,
and then like reds, and so
you lose each color about every 15 feet or so.
I never knew that.
So there would be no orange fishes down, 30 feet probably.
If you shined a light on them, you'd bring the color back.
Oh my gosh!
So as long as you have the light,
that's amazing.
Because the color's lost because of the density of the water.
Right.
But then when you have the light, you actually bring it all back. So when you go night diving, you can actually see a lot of color. And I know you're all,
I'm going to say no to night diving.
And now we're at night.
Yeah, I'm going to say no to night diving, I think.
But most things don't want to eat you. They really don't, especially at the depths you're going to be at. Like if you're at, some really crazy depth way off in the middle, like you'll see some pelagic things, but you're really not on their menu.
Yeah.
You're not in the ecosystem. They kind of look at you like, what the heck is that? They're kind of more afraid of your bubbles.
Yeah.
And they usually just swim away, especially if you startle them.
Yeah.
They're just as afraid of you.
You keep telling me that.
Kind of look at each other and kind of scream internally.
What's the deepest you've ever gone?
119 feet.
Holy cow. And that's like, is that dark? No.
Okay, see, this is where my small pea brain comes into play. Like, so when we go to promote this show, I need to have a picture of a building. Yes, a building that's 119 feet. Okay. Like, I don't know, like whatever, like a skyscraper, empire, whatever. Like, I need to see, oh my gosh, like that's how deep.
How it is. Probably not a skyscraper, but yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear you. Yeah. And what's the coolest thing you've ever seen?
The coolest thing that I've ever seen. Wow. I think just because there's different categories,
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite moments, we were doing a drift dive in Cozumel, so you don't even have to kick. And I look over and I see this spotted eagle ray just gliding along next to our dive master, and she has her finger in the sand kind of stirring it up. And the eagle ray is kind of interested in all the little kind of microbes in the sand and things. She might be stirring up like something good for her. She's just gliding along with her, and we're all just drifting together as a big group. And this big eagle ray is just among us.
Wow.
I don't even know what an eagle ray is.
Like a stingray, right? But
kind of, but they're a little bigger, and they have spots.
Okay.
And they can't eat you.
Can they sting you?
I love it that Casey's like reassuring us that
she's dialed into
it. Right.
She's completely dialed into our fears. Now, I did one time go in Grand Cayman. We took these stinking jet skis about 3 miles out into the ocean to a sandbar where the stingrays would come up.
Okay.
And then one of them, they would come up and they would smack you. And it was, Karen's pulling a picture of eagle rays. And that was terrifying. And I think Eurus still has the fingernail marks in his arms from that.
Oh, my goodness.
But I did it because, sometimes you just got to do stuff. That is gorgeous.
I know.
That is gorgeous.
I know.
Yeah.
We'll have to post that picture.
And they have kind of migratory patterns. So in Cozumel in January, you might be lucky enough to see multiple, just several, like dozens or hundreds just migrating. In the Keys, in the summertime, you'll see them too. But it's kind of rare. You have to catch them at just the right time.
So I have to ask Eurus questions before we run out of time now. Sure. I don't know why, but Karen started asking questions about wetsuits too. So apparently everyone wants to know about wetsuits. Do you wear wetsuits? And then how hard are they to get on?
Wow. Great question. Depends on the brand. Some are fleece lined, so you can just slip right in.
Oh, how fun.
And there's a zipper in the back on the back zip, which is a pretty common one. That's what we like to use. Mm-hmm. They kind of range in thicknesses. It can be anything from just sun and abrasion protection at like 0.5 mil or even just a thin skin, all the way up to nowadays 7 millimeter wetsuits. In the Caribbean, if you're cold-natured and it's like late spring, in the summer maybe too, maybe a 3 millimeter wetsuit, just so you have some, because you will lose heat when you're submerged in water about 25 times faster than you would when you are on the surface.
Yeah, it was interesting when I was there on Sunday that some of the classes, they were going to be in the water for, maybe 3 hours. And so they were wearing wetsuits because I'm like, you're in a pool, but just because you're losing heat so much faster that it's smart to wear those.
So my question offline was, I always thought, or some of the vision I had in my head is that the scuba or the wetsuit would go like over your head where just like the front of your face was exposed, and then like the goggles would go over. But I don't know if that's watching too much like Scooby-Doo or something. But you were saying that that's not necessarily the case.
No, not necessarily, but I think you're thinking of a hood. So you can have hood and gloves if you need extra thermal protection, like especially on your head. You'll lose most of your heat through your feet and your head anyway. So you might have thicker boots, 3 millimeter wetsuit, and a 3 millimeter hood. And that's great if you're cold-natured in the Caribbean.
Okay.
Okay, here's another question that Eurus had. but then he Googled and answered it himself. What is in the scuba tank, the cylinders?
Air.
Like
compressed, filtered air.
It's not pure oxygen. It has other stuff in it.
It's just air. So the air you're breathing right now is about 21% oxygen and 79% nitrogen.
Okay.
And there are trace gases in there, but for simplicity's sake. So air is different than oxygen in that oxygen is a gas that is in air.
Okay.
Air is just what we call the mix of 21% oxygen, 79% nitrogen.
Okay.
So in a scuba cylinder, so when you go diving, you just bring compressed air. And the reason is, and this is going to get a little scientific, is you have to be careful about the partial pressure of air that you're breathing or any gas. So different things can happen, like nitrogen narcosis at very deep depths or oxygen toxicity, which is from too high of a partial pressure of oxygen, which can come from your air being 21% or higher in nitrox, which is enriched oxygen.
Okay.
And being at a deeper depth, pressure increases, so you multiply the two.
Okay.
So it can surpass a safe partial pressure.
Gotcha. So you fill the tanks at your shop, right? And you're just filling it from the air.
Kind of. In a way, the compressor will suck in air through lots of filters, and it'll check it, it'll clean it, it'll compress it, and then it goes through an additional filter. There's actually air tests that you have to pass in order to pump air, whether you're a fire department or a scuba facility, and then also the oxygen that you add if you're mixing enriched air nitrox has to be a certain grade as well.
Gotcha. So if someone was traveling to do scuba, because I'm sure that's probably the majority of the people you work with, they go and they get the certification because they're getting ready to go on a vacation, or maybe they're fairly regular divers. What are the things that you need to own to take with you, and what are the things that you can typically pick up wherever you're going?
If you're flying, don't bring a cylinder because you have to drain it, take the valve out, and then get it re-inspected when you're there. Weights, that's a pain because you're already trying to pack for all the other stuff you have. So weights and cylinders are typically there.
Okay.
Mask, fins, snorkel, and boots. If you need boots, you might be able to use a barefoot fin. So those three things, mask, fin, and snorkel, are things most divers have. And if you want to own your own full set of gear, a buoyancy compensator device, or commonly called BC or BCD, your regulator, and your personal dive computer. So kind of 6 things, and then whatever accessories, like a mesh bag for the boat.
What's the typical cost for a setup? What should people expect?
If you're paying for top of the line with Scuba Pro, which is what we stock, you can get mask, fins, snorkel, boots, a wetsuit, BCD, regulator, and computer for less than $4,000.
Okay.
And that is yours to own forever. And if you buy the 3 serial numbered items, the computer, the reg, the BCD, you get parts for life, which means you don't have to pay for kits when you get it serviced every 2 years. And you get warranty as well. So when you go with a reputable brand and you get it from an authorized dealer, you get perks from it that actually pays for itself.
And these aren't things that you have to replace. Like, they should last forever.
They should last
and ever,
a lifetime.
Okay.
Especially with that brand, they've just been notorious for taking care of their customers. They have spectacular customer service. That's why we stock them.
Right. So if it was something where, I think, well, obviously I don't want to make a $4,000 investment because I might get terrified. I might flip out. So, but most of the places I would go to in the Caribbean,
you can rent it.
Could rent everything.
And mask, fin, snorkel, you want to own your own because if you take 2 5-day dive trips, it's about $400 in rental fees that have added up. So you can get yourself a top of the line snorkel package, so you can use to just snorkel for $400 or less, and that's top of the line.
Yeah.
So that's way less than a set of golf equipment over your life, like travel for different sports and stuff. It'll all add up. It's actually one of the least expensive hobbies that you can get into.
Because it's just kind of that upfront fee, and
and you're going to travel anyway.
Right.
So you might as well just bring the stuff that you own or rent here and there.
Yeah. Fascinating. Do you have other questions?
No, I'm just sitting here thinking, are we going to close the show with who's going to do this first this summer? I know it's not me.
So I have a trip to Alaska this summer, so I don't think it's going to be me.
You can dive in Alaska, too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice and cold.
So I vote you. But let's get Jack signed up to try scuba.
Very cool.
We should try that.
I think that would be fun.
He would go with you. Yes, he would go with you.
Yeah, right. Yes. He would go with Lady Deb, and it would be all fine. So, okay. So Southern Indiana Scuba, which is down on Empire Road. What's your website?
It's just southerninianascuba.com.
Okay.
And an offer for your listeners, if you've sat through this podcast, you like Deb and you listen, you can take $10 off your Try Scuba if you mention her podcast. Just say, hey, I want to try scuba. Awesome. I heard Deb's podcast. Yeah. Let's do it. $10 off. So
awesome. Thank you for that.
$35. We put you in everything you need.
Yeah. So if you were impressed by my bravery, and we will be posting pictures, the ones that I approve. I told you to take a lot, and I will approve one of them. So there you go. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm so glad you came up to me at that homebuyer class because, like I said, it was just not anything that was even on my radar. And, and it's crazy because I know your shop is there. I drive by it all the time. Yeah. But it never was, registered to me that it was anything that, a normal person like me would be able to be involved in, right?
It's for everybody.
Yeah, right?
I was going to say, I always remembered it on Walnut Street. Yeah. And then when you started to say where you were, I honestly forgot. I thought, okay, it's not there anymore. I wonder what happened. Or did they
moved?
Yeah. So
awesome. All right. So tune in. Feel free to ask us any questions if anybody wants to know more about my personal experience. I'm happy to share it. All right. And we will be back with another episode. You are at home in Bloomington.
Got a show idea? I'd love to hear it. And be sure to contact me for all your real estate needs and questions too. You can email me at deb@realrealestatetoday.com and follow me on Facebook at Deb Tomorrow Realtor. To contact Karen Rastel for all your mortgage needs, call 812-606-7653 or log on to ruoff.com and go to the Bloomington Center. Thanks to all the Bloomington people who make production of At Home in Bloomington possible. Digital guru Cynthia Hogan at Monster Digital Marketing for website design and hosting, and video genius Wes Lasher in the production house for engineering the show.